Corinthian Aleph, 1 Corinthians, chapter 12. And concerning spiritual gifts, brothers, I do not wish you to be ignorant. You know that you were nations, led away to the dumb idols, even as you might be led. Therefore, I make known to you that no one speaking by the Spirit of Elohim says Yeshua is a curse. And no one is able to say that Yeshua is master, except by the set-apart Spirit. And there are different kinds of gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different kinds of services, but the same Master. And there are different kinds of workings, but it is the same Elohim who is working all in all. And to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for profiting. For to one is given a word of wisdom through the Spirit, and to another a word of knowledge according to the same Spirit, and to another belief by the same Spirit, and to another gifts of healing by the same Spirit, and to another operations of powers, and to another prophecy, and to another discerning of spirits, and to another kinds of tongues, and to another interpretation of tongues. But one and the same Spirit works all these, distributing to each one individually as he intends. For as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is the Messiah. For indeed, by one Spirit we were all immersed into one body, whether Yehudim or Greeks, whether slaves or free, and we were all made to drink into one Spirit. For indeed the body is not one member but many. If the foot says, "Because I'm not a hand, I don't belong to the body," does it therefore not belong to the body? And if the ear says, "Because I'm not an eye, I don't belong to the body," does it therefore not belong to the body? If all the body was an eye, where would be the hearing? If all hearing, where would be the smelling? But now Elohim has set the members, each one of them, in the body, even as he is pleased. And if they all had been one member, where would the body be? And now there are indeed many members, but one body, and an eye is unable to say to the hand, "I have no need of you," or again the head to the feet, "I have no need of you," but much rather those members of the body which are thought to be weaker are necessary. And to those of the body which we think to be less respected, these we present greater respect. And our unseemly members have greater seemliness, whereas our seemly members have no need. But Elohim blended together the body, having given greater respect to that member which lacks it, that there should be no division in the body, but that the members should have the same concern for one another. And if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. Or if one member is esteemed, all the members rejoice with it. And you are a body of Messiah, and members individually. And Elohim has appointed in the assembly, firstly emissaries, secondly prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healing, helps, ministrations, kinds of tongues. Are all emissaries? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Do all have gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But earnestly seek the better gifts. And yet I show you a more excellent way. Chapter 13. If I speak with the tongues of men and of messengers, but do not have love, I have become as sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophecy and know all secrets and all knowledge, and if I have all belief so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I'm none at all. And if I give out all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I give my body to be burned, but do not have love, I'm not profited at all. Love is patient, is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. It's not puffed up. It does not behave indecently, does not seek its own, is not provoked, reckons not the evil, does not rejoice over the unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It covers all, believes all, expects all, endures all. Love never fails. And whether there be prophecies, they shall be inactive, or tongues, they shall cease, or knowledge, it shall be inactive. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect has come, then that which is in part shall be inactive. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I thought as a child. I reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I did away with childish matters. For now, we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, as I also have been known. And now, belief, expectation, and love remain, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Chapter 14. Pursue love, and earnestly seek the spiritual gifts, but rather that you prophesy. For he who is speaking in a tongue does not speak to men but to Elohim, for no one understands, but in the Spirit he speaks secrets. But he who is prophesying speaks upbuilding and encouragement and comfort to men. He who is speaking in a tongue builds up himself, but he who is prophesying builds up the assembly. Now, I wish you all spoke with tongues, but rather that you might prophesy. For he who is prophesying is greater than he who is speaking with tongues, unless he interprets, so that the assembly might receive upbuilding. But now, brothers, if I come to you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you, unless I speak to you, either by revelation or by knowledge or by prophesying or by teaching? Nevertheless, lifeless instruments making a sound, whether flute or harp, if they do not make a distinction in the sound, how shall it be known what is played on the flute or on the harp? For indeed, if the trumpet makes an indistinct sound, who shall prepare himself for battle? So also you, if you do not give speech by the tongue that is clear, how shall it be known what is spoken? For you shall be speaking into the air. There are undoubtedly so many kinds of sounds in the world, and none of them is without distinct sound. If then I do not know the power of the voice, I shall be a foreigner to him who speaks, and he who speaks be a foreigner to me. So also you, since you're ardent for spiritual gifts, seek to excel in the upbuilding of the assembly. Therefore, he who's speaking in a tongue, let him pray that he might interpret. For if I'm praying in a tongue, my spirit is praying, but my understanding is without fruit. What then is it? I shall pray with the spirit, and I shall also pray with the understanding. I shall sing with the spirit, and I shall also sing with the understanding. Otherwise, if you bless with the spirit, how shall he who fills up the place of the unlearned say, Amen, at your giving of thanks, since he doesn't know what you say? For truly you give thanks well, but the other's not built up. I thank my Elohim, I speak with tongues more than you all, but in an assembly I wish to speak 5 words with my understanding, that I might instruct others also, than 10,000 words in a tongue. Brothers, do not be children in your thinking, but in evil be babes, and in your thinking be perfect. In the Torah it's been written, with men of other tongues and other lips I shall speak to this people, and even so they shall not hear me, says Yehovah. So then, tongues are for a sign, not to those who believe, but to unbelievers, and prophesying is not for unbelievers, but for those who believe. If then all the assembly comes together in one place, and all speak with tongues, and there come in those who are unlearned or unbelievers, shall they not say that you're mad? But if all prophesy, and an unbeliever or unlearned one comes in, he is reproved by all, he's discerned by all. And so the secrets of his heart are revealed, and so, falling down on his face, he shall worship Elohim, declaring that Elohim is truly among you. What then is it, brothers? Whenever you come together, each one has a psalm, has a teaching, has a tongue, has a revelation, has an interpretation. Let all be done for upbuilding. If anyone speaks in a tongue, let there be 2, or at the most 3, each in his turn, and let one interpret. And if there is no interpreter, let him be silent in an assembly, and let him speak to himself and to Elohim. And let 2 or 3 prophets speak, and let the others discern. And if there should be a revelation to another who sits by, let the first be silent. For you are all able to prophesy one by one, so that all learn and all be encouraged. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. For Elohim is not Elohim of disorder, but of peace, as in all the assemblies of the set-apart ones. Let those women be silent in the assemblies, for they're not allowed to speak, but let them subject themselves, as the Torah also says. And if they wish to learn whatever, let them ask their own husbands at home, for it's improper for those women to speak in an assembly. Or did the word of Elohim go out from you, or did it reach only you? If anyone thinks himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge what I write to you, that they are a command of the Master, and if anyone is ignorant, let him be ignorant. So then, brothers, earnestly seek to prophesy, and do not forbid speaking in tongues. Let all be done decently and in order.